Welcome, everybody, to the Roundtable Show, coming to you live from the WWDBTV studios in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada. That's right, the show that is not afraid to talk about anything, few exceptions, but we talk about everything that we can and choose to. Why? Because it's our show, and you tell us what to do, and America Speaks. That's coming up later tonight.
Yeah.
Also, we're unveiling a new logo for America Speaks. Keeping it a surprise for George.
Yeah.
I'm Aaron. Well, as long as you did your job.
I think
I'm
I saw
Aaron
it.
Phillips, Rick Upchurch, George Miklos on the end, and everybody out there, and John JPEG Styles behind the board with us tonight. As always, thank you for watching, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. We don't really care. Just that you're there is what's important. If you're listening on the app, well, that'll only be for another week longer. Don't worry about that. And if you miss anything, that's cool, because in about a week's time, just simply download the WWDBTV channel to your Roku.
Roku a week?
Well, that's because they're doing a lot of changes.
Okay.
That's why. It used to be 72 hours. Now it's 72 weeks. But anyway,
Right.
You'll be able to not only check out the Roundtable, but I need a word for many. A lot of shows.
Plethora.
That you can, a shitload of shows.
There we go.
That you can watch on all. Listen, great shows here on the network, ranging topics. You can check it out. Of course, if you want to join the conversation, we would love to have you. And I don't mean that because of Jordan Love. Love to have you. See what I did there? I'm a professional. Do not try that at home. 702-992-3207. The best part of today is I get to spend the next hour with two of my bestie buds here talking about everything from sports
and everything
to a rather weird incident in an airport this past week.
Oh,
we'll leave
God.
that for later.
Right.
It's a shitty topic, but
yeah, really.
may make you shit bricks.
Yeah,
later on.
hello, Merry
Gold
Christmas.
gold bricks.
Gold. Anyway,
So today I'm the thumb, right? I'm the only one that wore the jersey. I thought I thought it was Super Bowl. We're leading up to the Super Bowl, and
Super Bowl's a couple of weeks away.
well, why don't we just keep wearing it?
I
until
think
Super Bowl is
that's
over?
fine with me. I think
We
so.
should all wear them Friday night instead of our team
Yeah,
jerseys.
we're gonna wear it.
You want to wear?
No,
our
I'm wearing my team jersey.
Yeah.
I'll wear the
That's
regular
what I
one.
was talking about.
But we'll wear this
we
here.
should every Thursday. We should
All
do
right.
the Super Bowl.
That's
I think
fine.
we should do that.
That's
I
fine.
agree. I agree.
Insist.
I just didn't bring it.
Really,
That's,
I just don't want to be naked. Anyway,
We might wear the voice too.
do you have the voice?
Who's
Oh,
the
I'm
18?
gonna-
Who's 18?
That's my number.
that's his number.
Didn't I
The
explain
jersey's
this
number.
last week?
Yeah,
No, I got short term. You know?
that's right.
So you know what? Go back to last week's show. No,
I'm going to get him called the mouth.
So, well, we were talking about it. So 18 in the Jewish religion is a lucky
Oh
number.
yeah, that's right.
All right. So,
There you go.
Okay.
and I
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
That's
my,
called
my
recall.
old jersey number was 53. That's what I wore in high school.
Okay.
You know, Harry Carson. That's why I
Yeah.
took it.
Right.
And then it's just time grew on. 18, I felt was better representation.
I've met Harry Carson. I've spent time with him. You are no Harry Carson, believe me. Not even close.
Not
That
even-
boy got muscles in his ears, man.
There you
Let me
go.
tell
Not
you
even,
something.
not even if I look in the mirror would I even look like Harry Carson. I got a few changes.
I told
besides
him.
muscles.
I said, hey man, look at your ears, man. Them bad boys is all pumped up.
Yeah,
He went over and
he
lifted
did
up
have
10
small
pounds
ones.
with them bad boys. I was like, gee, man.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Well, listen, we love it
Only
all.
you
It's
could
okay.
say that.
So, before we move forward on today's agenda, seriously, we got a wide variety of topics today. We decided, well, in our chat group this week, what we're going to do on every week's show, instead of us like trying to pull our hair figuring out what we're going to talk about, we're going to pull stories from different categories each week, right?
Yeah.
We talked about local, we talked about sports, we talked
Health.
about weird news,
Health.
we talked about health topics.
Yeah.
So that this way, when we kind of chat throughout the week, we kind of know what we're going to be talking about instead
That's
of
right.
panic Tuesday evening when I'm ready to tell them, hey, I got to post, and all of a sudden it's like crickets.
That's
So
right.
We now have a plan of what we're going to do every week. So that's what we're going
I
to do.
sent something over because I got it
No, I know
right
you
here.
did. I know you did.
I was like this, that, and the other, right?
okay.
Isn't that what I said?
Well, you didn't say this, that, and the other. But you did, and I have it written here. So I've got the agenda. So before we get into all that, how was your guys' week? We had football this week. You had a good week since we last met last week? Tell me.
Absolutely. I've had a great time watching. I've been sitting around just being a bum watching football and basketball all week. It's just been a great week for Donna and I.
Mhm. Hi, Donna.
Yeah. Hey, girlfriend.
I said hello to my
anything
wife,
about
but I know
it.
she ain't
I
watching.
did. She might be
just been a
watching.
great
Hi,
week.
honey.
And, starting tomorrow, with the welcoming committee, Las Vegas welcoming committee.
That's right. We'll be there.
We're going to have the rally tomorrow. We're all going to show up and
That's
be a
right.
part of it. Glad that my partners are going to be with me, and we're
We
going to have
know
a good
important
time.
people in low places to get into these things.
Yeah, and so with that, what we'll be doing, during the week up to the Super Bowl, we'll just be welcoming people into Las Vegas, showing them where to go, what to do, how to do it, and those type of things, and giving them a great experience here in Las Vegas. You damn well, I'm sure you would, no doubt about it.
Go to WWDBTV. That's
Yeah, there you go, no doubt.
Speaking of the Super Bowl in Vegas,
Yes.
you see there the Super Bowl in Vegas. You see all the road closures. Here we go again.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
It won't be as bad as F1.
No, because F1 they reconstructed the entire roadway system.
Yeah, right.
Well, they're tearing down the Flamingo
Oh, they
Bridge.
finally did that. I didn't
Well,
see
they're
that.
going to. It's going to. They start this coming
So
weekend.
are
It's
they
going
going
to
to
take.
rebuild it next year?
I don't know about that, but I know it's going to take 2.5 weeks to tear it down.
So it's
So
not going to
it's
take.
going to be a mess.
Yeah.
But they said by the Super Bowl, by February 8th, it'll be all done.
Yeah, so
Yeah, right.
yeah, so it should be a
I'm
good
looking
time.
forward to tomorrow night. This should be a lot of fun.
Me too.
Yeah, me too, man. I
Yeah.
think it should be great.
And
Yep.
we get to wear our team's
Team
favorite
jersey.
wear our jerseys
Yeah.
and stuff for our favorite
Yeah,
teams.
there's entertainment. There's going to be some entertainment, some speakers.
I wasn't asked to entertain.
Well, I don't
must
know
miss
how
the
you
memo.
sit on the doggone totem pole, big fella.
Obviously, I don't.
I don't either. So
Yeah.
My totem pole's where those gold bricks are. Is where they are.
Oh, you're going to find out about that.
well, I'll be sitting with you guys in the crowd, so
All right.
it'll be fun.
That's
All
cool.
right.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
it'll be fun.
Looking
All right.
forward to it.
Yeah. So we had it. Listen, we might as well talk about it before we get into some of the other topics. Great week of football. Yeah.
Incredible.
Again, I think we talked about this. Was it? No, it was last week.
I was
so
wrong on a couple of them. That's
I was
for sure.
too.
I don't even remember what I predicted. It doesn't even matter.
Oh boy,
seriously.
selective
No, I honestly
doggone
don't.
memory, right?
I honestly
Like
don't.
Denise will tell me, I told
I
you.
told you.
No,
Yeah.
I honestly don't, because even when I make predictions on the wrestling show, one of our followers in Florida, he actually writes down all of our predictions.
To
And
keep
after,
track,
after a pay-per-view,
to bust you.
Nobody
No.
can remember it.
that's right. We can't remember it 5 minutes after saying it. So what he does is he writes the predictions down and then he takes a picture of it and posts it. I went 7-3 on the pay-per-view last week. And I was number one, 7-3.
Not bad.
That doesn't mean anything for the football games.
Wait.
I don't remember anything out of the 6 games. What?
You have to make those predictions before the game.
Well, here's the thing, John. What I would
have
like,
gotten them all right then.
what I would like for you to do is go back to next week, man, and replay it,
Go
and then we'll know
back to
exactly.
next week.
I know.
Go back to last week.
Last week.
I will replay next week's show
Ahead of time.
Yeah, go back to next week. Hey, you know what? I'm dyslexic.
What?
Dyslexic.
Welcome to the roundtable, everybody.
Dick Slexy.
I think I went to school with him.
Have you seen those commercials where they're trying to? Well, I thought you said it was going to be a part, and they throw the red flag and they come down with the
Oh,
camera.
yes, that's the Geico insurance.
Right, and then you're like, we see where the two ladies and the kid at the bus
About
stop.
watching the game with
Yeah,
the
and she
neighbor.
goes, well, you don't want her in the game. You said she talks too
Right.
much. And she's like,
Let's go to the videotape.
right, and then boom, she goes, oh, that bus sure is late.
Yeah, where's the bus?
Yeah, but the thing about it, what about those young quarterbacks?
Oh,
Remember with Houston, we said, well, maybe Houston, but and that old deal. But I went with Houston.
Yeah,
I went with Houston. I went with Kansas City.
I think I
went
picked
with
Flacco
Philly.
because I wanted Flacco.
I did.
Yeah, I
I picked,
went with
I did.
Philly.
I picked Cleveland for that.
You went with Philly. No, I took the Bucks. I know I took the Bucks.
Yeah, I
on
went
that
with
one.
Philly, and yeah.
Listen, overall, here's the one that surprised. No, I shouldn't say surprised me. Jordan Love, right? Drafted
Shockingly,
by the Green Bay Packers.
shocking.
Aaron Rodgers was not happy about that when they selected him a couple of years ago.
Of course, because
But
he
boy,
knew
the way Jordan Love is playing, boy, did he impress the crap out of those of us probably watching the game this past weekend. He is making that decision look pretty good to have been drafted to replace Rodgers, at least for this year.
there was always a diamond in the rough, but Rick can attest, quarterbacks back though in the 70s and 80s when they got drafted, they held a clipboard for 2 or 3 seasons, or if not longer. Now these guys are getting 20 million right up front. They got to throw him in there. They go 0-16. Oh, he sucks. No, sometimes it takes time. Now, CJ Stroud, that's a whole nother.
Well, he was also injured a little bit this year.
Yeah,
too, right?
and Love's a whole nother. They picked it up pretty good. Even Peyton had a rough year his first season.
Yeah.
So I think these quarterbacks need to sit for 2 or 3 seasons.
Well, what I think it is coaching. I think when you have a good coach, man, that understands how to mentor these young ball players, just like with Antonio Pierce, what Max Crosby said. He said, we click. We click with him. We understand him. He's just like us.
Why are they
And
taking
when you
so
can-
long?
And when you can get coaches that clicks together in that whole deal, man, along with your quarterback and your team, you got some good cooking, guys. I'm
Right.
telling you the truth. I was a part of it because when they brought in Red Miller,
Yeah.
Red Miller, our first year, we go to the Super Bowl because we clicked with him.
Yep.
And so when you can get a coach and your team on the same page, and I believe if they hire Antonio Pierce, those kids are going to play for him.
They have to. I don't know what's taking so long.
Well, here's what's taking them long. You got Tom Brady, who's unofficially part of the ownership, right?
Very
It's-
minority.
It's okay, but his name is there. You know who he's talking and building up? Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
Vrabel
Yeah,
has had a very good coaching career before he's let go this year.
Right.
Okay. I think Belichick, I don't know if Belichick can coach anymore for this reason. He needs a team that's ready to win now. He's not going to be around forever or long enough to develop a brand new quarterback that whatever team he goes to, whether it's I'll even throw the Raiders name in there, but you got Harbaugh also looking at the Chargers, but the Chargers have an established quarterback. Of the remaining options that are open, because New England hired Gerard Mayo as their head coach,
Right.
so there's 7 remaining. Should have been more. I think McCarthy should have been let go.
Well,
after all
no,
this, but-
I disagree with that. I do think that Jerry Jones did the right thing. McCarthy, they've won 12 games a year last 3 seasons.
Okay.
They're a winning football team. I think he did the right thing in leaving that alone.
But he's also the George Steinbrenner of football.
Yeah.
He only talks Super Bowl wins
Right.
to mean anything.
Well, Dak may not get $60 million that he's looking for, but at least
I don't
they're
think
still
he will, because I
together.
think he'd be willing to take less so they can get more people.
They're
on.
going to, and I think McCarthy and Dak will, they're going to stay around. I think Jerry Jones did.
I'm like this. If you're talking about winning games, look, Tony Romo, right? You had Tony Romo, and I forget Garrett. What's his name? Jason Garrett was his coach in that ordeal.
Yep.
Tony Romo couldn't get out of the first round, right?
Yeah.
So
Every time.
we got to understand they still haven't been back to the Super Bowl. They have Dak Prescott now, right? And he's with McCarthy, right? They keep saying we're going to the Super Bowl this year in that whole deal because we got all of the makings to do this. And what do? They get hammered by the youngest team
in the league.
the league. For me, that coach has to go. And Dak's got to go.
Even if you're winning 12 wins.
I'm changing. I want Super Bowls. I don't care nothing. I care about the regular season. But if I'm doing that well, where I can win the NFC East,
right,
and that whole deal, I want championships, bro. We're the Dallas Cowboys, man.
I agree.
Well,
but you know what? Them winning the East was only because the Eagles fell apart. They kind of backdoored into winning that division. But I agree with you. Listen. Jerry Jones talks about Super Bowl. We'll get there. Yeah, 12 wins a season, great. Get you decent seeding in the playoffs, right? Can get you a division title. But if you don't get out of the first round, even as a wild card team, 12 wins don't mean
at
home, where they were 8-0,
right,
and had an average score of about 30 points a game at home.
At home, that's what I'm talking about, man. Really?
They made a game of it late only because, the defense always, I hate that prevent defense crap.
Right. Well, you have to when you're down 27 to 7.
The tackling was horrible for Dallas.
Yep.
I mean, the 3 of us could have run through some of those holes, one move, and we could have been gone. I mean, the arm tackling.
I could have been a star.
Yeah.
The arm tackling that
a fading star, too.
Yes.
No.
The arm tackling in the secondary all across the league.
Horrible.
I hate to see them throw their shoulder simply to try to or go at the leg instead of wrapping up.
Talk from the waist down is where you tackle. Right. That's how you do it.
These running backs nowadays, even if you're not a tall running back, right? Even if you're a shorter running back, but if you got legs that can move, you're running through an arm tackle.
Yeah.
And all those tackles in the secondary that the Green Bay Packers ran through, that was happening even over the entire weekend, the tackling in the secondary is horrendous. And that's coaching.
Yes, that is, and also remember in practice they don't tackle anymore. Yes. They don't take guys to the ground anymore. When I was in the league, during practice they took us to the ground so that we got used to it.
You have to.
You got used to somebody hitting you and keeping your balance, or you got used to putting that body on someone and wrapping up in that whole deal. But if you don't do that and you say, well, all I'm going to do is try and trip you, these running backs. Their legs, man. Look at Josh Jacobs' legs in that deal. You're not going to bring these
That's
guys
the
down.
Or they
old
try to
leg-
swat the ball out of their hand.
Yeah.
Trying for the fumble.
Well, I'm
Come
okay
on.
with that as long as they go for the tackle. If they're going to go waist high on the tackle, where they should, I have no problem with them getting that hand around the front to try to move the ball a little bit even
Right.
as they're going to make the tackle, but everybody goes for the ball first.
That's wrong.
Get
Right.
the tackle done, and you don't get all these extra yards, which I have to ask you a question,
Yes.
which has been bugging me for years. You know, every week you come on the show, and I've been meaning to ask you, and I freaking forget about it. Quarterback gets credit for a pass from the time it leaves their hand
Yes.
till the time the play ends.
Yes.
Okay. Why? The pass technically is from the time it hits there, leaves their hand to the time the receiver catches it there. Because then they double it up and they give the receiver credit for yards after catch.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that, shouldn't the quarterback only get credit for a
For
pass
the actual
from
pass.
the time that it leaves his hand to the
To
time
the-
the receiver catches it, and
then
then
he
the
gets
receiver
another 80
only
yards
gets
on it.
credit for the yak?
Well, for me, I've always, wondered about that as well, right? And the yak, once again, because we leave the line of scrimmage, right?
Mhm.
We leave the line of scrimmage, so that's where the play actually started.
Starts,
So
right.
we have to run those 15 yards. So we have those 15 yards, right?
Mhm.
We've covered those 50 yards, and then we catch the ball, and then we go another 50 yards in that whole deal. That's added on to it
Right.
as well.
65 yards.
But for a quarterback, I think it should be where they complete the ball.
And
Correct.
that's it.
If it's 20 yards, if it's 15 yards, and that's it. And the rest is for the receiver.
I
It's
agree
not-
totally.
It's not
But
a
what they're
pass and
doing-
carries.
But what they're
stats.
doing is they're padding the
I
doggone
was just going to say
stats
they're
for the
diluting.
quarterback.
they're
Right.
And that's why I'm glad you said that, because Dak had over 400 yards passing,
Yeah.
426, I think.
Right.
Wonderful. Looks great in the box score. But that's because in the last quarter, they had no choice but to throw the ball.
Right.
Green Bay let him sneak back in where it was a 2-touchdown
Scary.
score. It
Yeah.
got very scary at the end. However, a pass is a pass. It's not a pass and run
That's right.
statistic.
Right.
So that's always bothered me, and I'm glad I finally remembered to ask that, because I'd be
Yeah,
always
if John Elway throws me a ball, right, and I catch it 60 yards down the
he gets
down
credit
the-
for 60.
He gets credit for 60.
You run another 40, you get credit for 100.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I agree. I agree with that. But once again, it's about stats. That's
Yeah.
what it's about.
And padding quarterback
padding
stats
quarterback
buys money.
stats.
Real
Oh,
quick.
buys what?
Money.
Have you ever heard of money, folks out
Money,
there?
honey.
Yeah, money.
Money, honey. All
Real
right.
quick, one
Yes.
more thing
Yes.
before. You know how when at the end of the game, in particular, CJ Stroud of the Houston Texans, they get interviewed after the game on the field. Hey, and we're down with Michelle Vittoria. She's down there with CJ Stroud. How did you do? First thing out of his mouth was, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for everything that he did, got me here to this point. Then he started, I want to thank my coaches and players. Well, later on these interviews, they cut out the first thing he said and just go straight to, I want to thank my coach and my friends and my family and the players. They cut out his thanks for, again, and I'm not a practicing Christian as much as I should be, but that ticks me off when they cut that out. How do you feel, guys, about that?
Because the networks know that not everybody believes in Jesus Christ.
But that still doesn't matter. This
Why
guy
do they have an issue with Tim Tebow Tebowing?
kneeling,
Right.
but yet you can kneel in the end zone when you can, or you can
Well,
kneel.
but you're kneeling in the end zone
He
around
was
your
praying.
guys, and you're doing it maybe a crick, one of those. Okay.
Yeah.
But he was literally down on a knee praying in the middle of a game.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I was a member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in high
Right.
school, and we before each high school game we would sit in the huddle and the coach would pray a little bit. Okay, break.
Hey, let me say something, okay? Just like with Colin Kaepernick, right? Colin Kaepernick was saying, these are the things that are going on in our society, and you guys don't see it, right? And so he went and did what? He went and kneeled in protest,
For
right?
a different reason.
No, wait, for a different reason. But he still kneeled, right? They don't want the perception, man, of any of that stuff in the National Football League, whether they're leaning this way
Or
or
not.
that way, because they don't want it to become political.
Something
That's
about
not
why.
even- And to
Go
me,
ahead.
it shouldn't even be that. It's just
Wait,
he's
wait, wait,
thinking.
wait. So Kaepernick did what he did because he was told by a Green Beret
Right.
that was the way to respect it.
Right.
He did not disrespect the flag. That was bullshit. I don't care what anybody says.
Okay,
Right.
now
He did the right thing, and all of the crap about, we'll save it for later. bullshit. If you save it for later and you're at home and you're talking about that, nobody's going to listen to you.
Now, on the other
He
hand,
had an opportunity and he took it, and I admire the guy.
now
Yeah.
on the other hand, John, what do you think about a quarterback thanking Jesus Christ at the end for getting us to this point and helping me make it? What do you think of that when they kneel
I
in?
don't have a problem with that, but I'm not Jewish.
Yeah, but the thing about it,
Listen, I can get out there. I wanted to thank the holy rabbi.
Yeah,
I
you
wanted
can
to
do
thank
that,
Mount
too.
Sinai.
Moses.
but you know what, guys? Honestly, too, when I had a touchdown, man. You know, which tied the National Football League for punt returns, right?
Right.
And that whole deal. And when that happened, I fell to my knees and I said, "Thank you, Father God, for the opportunity." Right.
Right,
And
there's
that whole
nothing
deal.
wrong with that.
Dan Reeves jumped on me and thought that I was tired. I said, "No, Dan. What I'm doing is I'm thanking
Right.
my Heavenly Father for the opportunity in
Right.
that whole deal." He's like, "No, you were tired." I said, "No, I was not tired." So I don't think, just like right now, high school coaches, they get the axe if they do it.
Yeah, they get fired if they,
They get
kneel
fired if
down
you
with their
bring that-
players
Because
Yeah,
they
I hate
don't want that political, whether it's religion or whether it's politics, to come into the game.
And what's too bad is they're not even thinking that way. They're just, hey,
No.
thank
Who's
you,
not?
Jesus,
Who's
for
not?
help.
The Sayer, like CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
They're not-
like, yeah.
Of course, they're not
They're-
thinking that. But when you're looking at the way media and society is today,
It's
okay,
on them,
it's
not them.
it's the
It's abrasive,
perception
yeah.
that somebody is leaning or an organization is leaning one way or another
Yeah.
way. And I always say this to people, and then we're going to go to break because we're running behind.
Right.
Okay.
The reason that I never in 18 and a half years specifically talk about politics or religion as a topic on any of the shows I've ever done is because ask Rush Limbaugh, which you can't now because he's dead.
Mhm.
When he first made many, many years ago, he
Yeah.
got put on the map because he said something that labeled him one way or the
Yeah,
other.
Right.
He could never shed that as much as he tried to be more across the board as a voice of reason in his mind. He was stuck in that corner, and that was it. Once you get labeled something, you can't get rid of the label. With that, though, I am going to label you. It's
Yeah.
time for a commercial break.
That sounds
Thank you
like
for
a
watching
skunk.
the Roundtable. We'll be right back.
Well,
Are you looking for someone to provide training to your staff? Do you need a motivational speaker about how to handle change? Do you have an upcoming event that needs an MC to handle those responsibilities? Well, look no further than longtime Las Vegas radio personality Aaron Phillips. I am local to Las Vegas and I can blend my talents with any audience. For more information, please visit www.aaronzauer.vegas and book me for your next event or training needs.
They're willing to accept.
All right, welcome back to the Roundtable, and that's exactly right.
That
Because
was
when I
quick.
do public speaking, and I'm even teaching this to the elementary kids in
Yes.
the broadcasting class, you've got to know your audience and who. I'm having them practice putting an opinion piece together,
Mhm.
and I told them pick anything that you want to talk about. We're going to record it. We're going to present it like we're in studio. You have to know the audience that you're talking to when it comes to a topic that is of interest. You have to, and a lot of times when I make public appearances to speak, I don't know what the heck I'm going to talk about until I walk out on that stage. And in a span of about 10, 15 seconds, I get a feel of what the audience is like. Then it gives me a
right.
direction, a feel,
Yep.
and what to do. You have to know your audience, especially in a public arena.
Right.
My dad, I love my dad. He comes over to my house. You take this for what it's worth. He's a big Trump supporter.
Mhm.
Okay.
Good.
When he starts talking about all that stuff, I just kind of smirk and laugh because I don't want to get into a conversation with him about politics.
Right.
Because even in your own household, you can really piss people
Sure.
off about
Yeah.
certain topics.
Yeah.
But
And I won't
that's
do that.
when I did some shows where we talked about subjects that were touchy, pushing the envelope. You find out what someone's really what they're really feeling and their really truth is when you push that envelope.
I get
And when
that.
they get angry, they say how they really feel.
I understand
and
that.
that's something you need to know about.
And that's the way your show with what's his name was
Right,
many
Keith,
years ago.
yes.
And I get it. I guess for me personally, I'm only speaking for me. I'm not speaking for
Right.
you guys. I'm not speaking for my other co-hosts or any other shows. I'm an entertainer. I want to make people laugh. I want to make people cry. I want to give them provocative thoughts. I want them to tune into my shows because it's a distraction from all the other crap that goes
Right.
on around them for 1 hour a week on any show. I don't want to put myself in a position. I can tell you what I feel about Trump and the thing in Iowa with the caucuses, like or not, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I could share that. I don't want to be labeled
Right.
a Trump
And
supporter
that's what
or not a Trump
sucks,
supporter.
because you shouldn't
That's
be
right.
But
labeled,
that's society.
society.
even if you have an opinion of something.
There's no gray
No,
area anymore.
There's no gray area
You're either
anymore,
right
George.
or wrong. And here's
And
the thing:
yep.
people. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
People are fighting over these things based on people's opinions,
Right.
not fact.
Or
Right.
their ideology,
Right.
how they think.
If I tell you the sky is purple, you're going to say to me, "No,
Fuck
Aaron,
you,
the
it's
sky is
yellow."
Right.
Well,
yellow.
it's the acid I'm using.
That's right.
But yeah.
But you can point to the sky and say, "No, it's blue. Don't you see it?"
Right.
Okay, it's fact. I can be corrected.
Right.
But if I have an opinion about something, that's why I love monitoring. Something about Facebook just makes me laugh when people argue over opinions. I saw it in the school district board meetings I used to watch on Facebook during the pandemic. I got more entertainment out of listening and watching the comments in the chat room, people going after each other, regardless of what was being talked about, and they were pissing and moaning at each other. And I'm like, and I put a comment in there all the time, and you wonder what's wrong with society.
I like starting dumpster fires on Facebook. I do. I know what I told. This photo is gonna. This is gonna piss
But
somebody
that's
off.
why you end up in jail all
Right.
the time.
Well,
on
I've actually
Facebook.
been good. I haven't been in jail in over a year.
Well, here's
Well,
the
there
thing
you go.
about it. People have alternative facts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They can take alternative facts and
Right.
they can make them whatever they want
Right.
because of their ideology. Man.
Look,
Right.
we can go back through the videotape on our own show. Okay. And the one topic that sort of, I don't want to say divides us, but we take obvious difference of opinion
Yeah.
is the transgender conversation.
I'm bringing a red flag next week. I'm
Videotape.
throwing it.
First, we need a sponsor from the insurance company. Then we can bring. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, even that topic within our own show about the transgender community, LGBTQ community, and equality, and all that. Even on this show, we get into some discussions because in that one topic,
Right.
we do field our own opinions and whatnot.
Right.
Doesn't make it right or wrong. Whether people want to label me as a supporter or not, or you not a
Right.
supporter, it doesn't matter. But people are going to form their opinions on what we say because it is our opinion and we're entitled to them. Everybody's got one like their, you know what?
Right.
But people don't care. They want to argue about opinions.
I have a
And that's-
shitty opinion on everything.
I know. Well, I got gold bars that say otherwise.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Great stuff though to talk about. But again, that's just my own personal belief and
Right.
what
Yes.
I choose to do in this
Right.
media. All right, let's talk about what you brought up in there. We just celebrated this past Monday Martin Luther King,
Right.
honoring the man and the great thing that he did in equality, and unfortunately lost his life over it because, again, a difference of ideology at that time.
Mhm.
But still today, his far-reaching ability to bring to mind that we are all created equal is still very important today.
It really is. And like I told you guys, just sitting around, I had the opportunity in 1980. The National Football League asked me to be the guest speaker. The March on Washington, the very first one, 750,000 people in front of Washington Monument.
Right.
And let me tell you something, man, that when that energy that was there for these folks, because once again, a lot of these folks came from the inner cities, right? A lot of these folks came from the suburbs because he was like this. I don't care what you look like. He said, we are human beings of the human race here on this earth. He always said, if I was to skin you down, or if I was to poke you with a needle, you're going to bleed. And that blood that comes out of you might save my life one day. If I skin you down, and if I put you, man, up on a tree and I hang you there and there's no skin on you, I don't know what color you are. So he was like, we're the human race. And everybody needs an opportunity, because when he went to Memphis, when he was killed there, he went there for the sanitation workers that were, with the labor
Right.
that was going on right there. They were on strike in that hotel. It wasn't just black folks. It wasn't just Hispanic folks. It was white folks. It was black folks. It was Hispanic folks. It was Italians, because he believed that we're all significant here on this earth. And I have a picture of his son here. I showed this picture to you of his son, and I spent quality time with him and his wife and his family to understand who he was.
Right.
And he was a man of God. He loved God.
He was a minister.
He was a minister.
So was his
He
father.
loved it.
Yeah.
And when he saw the wrongs that were being wrong, he felt like he needed to stand up and be a voice. And God gave him a voice.
Absolutely.
Gave him a voice, man, that everybody recognized. But then you had the people out there that hated him.
Right.
You know why they hated him? Because he was going to raise the people, man, up. These folks up here didn't want these folks
Right.
raised up, because these are the folks that made them multi-billionaires.
Right.
And then when you talk about African Americans, they wanted to keep their thumb on them and keep them down in the neighborhood so that they had nothing. The number one thing that they wanted for black folks to do was go to jail and fill those doggone jail cells up.
Mhm.
Now, you and I discussed this before the show, maybe for the audience's sake, how Martin Luther King Jr. would feel today. Some progress, maybe he would not be happy with a certain area of how it's gone. What do you think?
Well, I think he loves the progress. When you talk about education, when you're talking about housing has gotten better. Education has gotten better books, better technology in there. The housing, now you can live in the suburbs
Right.
and not be questioned sometimes when you go down into the suburbs and that old deal. I think, yeah, he would say, yes, we have made movement for sure, but we're still falling short in some areas of our society. And that's the justice system. The justice system, once again, when you look at the prison system right now, right? You have almost 55% of African Americans that fill those cells up. Over half. So how does that happen when you know that crime happens everywhere?
Right.
So those are the things that I think that he would want to, really fix and take care of. And the other thing that he would probably try and take care of is the problem that's down on the border. He said, these are human beings trying to find refuge, man, and find a better way of life with their babies, with their children, with their husbands, and that whole deal. He would say, look, let's find a way. Let's sit down and stop making them a piñata and treat them like they're human beings on this earth where God put them, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be here.
Right.
And treat them in decency. And I think he would really focus in on that one.
Right.
Did you say pinata or pina colada?
Pinata.
I couldn't tell.
I'm talking about the thing that you beat on.
Oh, gotcha.
And that whole deal. Yeah. So I think that that would be one of his number one things that he would look at, and also looking at more jobs down into the black neighborhoods where we can be self-sufficient and that whole deal, and making sure that money is spent in the African American community.
I want to follow suit with that and simply say that I wish everybody of every color, every gender, whatever's out there, gets the same equal opportunity to be looked at for any opportunity. And here's what I mean by that. The NFL, so many years ago, created the Rooney Rule. For those who don't know, it's a rule that was instituted, 40 years ago, whatever it was, to make sure that African-American coaches or non-coaches or whatever within the football industry have an equal opportunity to interview for open head coaches. Now, it doesn't mean they get the job.
That's right.
However, at least get the opportunity to be considered. And the fact that we need a rule like that to make sure that everybody gets a fair opportunity.
Right. Sure.
That's what we need to stop doing.
The irony of it
Because
all,
otherwise we can do, hey, get all the Jews in there.
Well,
get
remember also with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, I used to sit down with Shaq Harris and sit down with Doug Williams and sit down with Marlon Briscoe and those type of guys. Marlon Briscoe was the first African-American quarterback in that whole deal. And he was telling me how hard it was.
Sure.
Because once again, a lot of those coaches, man, were from the deep South.
Right.
And they brought those attitudes with them where they didn't want a black quarterback telling them what to do and having to answer to them in that whole deal.
Right.
And so they used that we weren't intelligent enough in order to run a football team in that whole deal. Well, Doug Williams proved that wrong.
He did.
So
now, does the irony of it all, does the Rooney Rule apply to a team that already has a black football coach?
It doesn't
and
matter.
They still have to,
according to an order
and they
that I
still
read
have
regarding
to.
Antonio Pierce.
Right, that perfect
supposedly,
example.
They still have to go through the Rooney Rule process,
Right.
Even though he's already a black
and he's
coach already.
right. They still have to go through it to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity.
Yes,
first.
yes, John. What's up? Oh,
So I mean, I'm familiar with the rule, but I don't know all of the details. My question is, so all they have to do is give a black guy an interview and they're cool.
Technically, yes.
Yes.
So what the fuck does that do?
Well, it shows that you're being diverse in the folks that you.
It just shows that you're bringing some guy in to talk to him, just so you can say, okay.
Well, they're bringing in legitimate contenders for the position.
Right.
I understand
It doesn't
that.
guarantee.
That doesn't
Right.
mean that they have to decide. You can have the best black man
Yep.
on the field.
Yep.
But just because you You
No.
only brought him in because you were forced to.
John, it's all it's all
That's
about
my
the
point.
it's all about the perception.
Right. I
That's what
understand
it's
that.
all about, my
Yeah.
brother. It's about the perception, man. And
Well, look, we gave you a chance.
yeah,
We
and
gave
yes,
you an
Right.
yes, the
Right.
audience saw it. They said, yeah, they gave him an opportunity, but he wasn't the guy that we wanted to hire for our football team.
Absolutely.
No, I get that.
It's they
Well,
protect
again, like I
themselves
said, it's
legally.
like within Antonio Pierce's
Yeah,
case.
yeah.
Why would the Rooney Rule apply when you already have a black coach and you're only and Mark
Because-
Davis didn't he didn't interview, he only interviewed two other guys
No, but because they gave him the interim tag. If they
Yes.
Right.
named him head coach,
without
not interim.
interviewing anybody else.
no. If they named him head
Head
coach,
coach.
after firing Josh
Right.
and said, this is our new head coach, not interim, then he's already the
He's
head coach.
already-
right.
They wouldn't have to go through bells and whistles.
That's
but
right.
that interim tag is what's made the difference for him.
You have to go through the process.
Correct.
Well, they did, and hopefully what's taking Mark Davis so long.
But-
Let's just let him have the job.
But the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, I don't know what everybody else was doing when he was assassinated. I remember I came
I don't
home.
think I was born yet.
Yeah, 1960.
I was 7.
But when I came
How old
home, my
was he?
grandmother and
60,
grandfather,
68.
Oh, I was 4.
my
Sorry.
grandmother, she was crying. I'm like,
Yeah.
Grandma, what's going on? She said, they killed him. They killed him. I said, killed who, Mom? I said, who, Grandma? Who they killed? They killed Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And I was like, what? I said, why? I said, he was a good man. Why did they kill him in that whole deal? He said, because he was trying to liberate and help people.
Mhm.
That's what she said. And I'm sitting there saying, I said, what was wrong with that? Why? They said, because they didn't like him. They didn't like his words.
Mhm.
They didn't like that he was giving man some power
And
to
hope,
the people
right.
and hope to people.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
let me tell you something, man. I cried after I found out and really understood, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and what he was trying to do and trying to accomplish. I cried like a baby, man. I
Mhm.
did. I'm like, they kill a man because, and just like with John Kennedy,
Mhm.
they took John Kennedy out. I cried for that because he was a good man.
Right.
It wasn't because he was white or black. It's because he cared about humanity.
Correct. It's crazy. Whenever you think about an assassination of any leader that's been assassinated at any level, it goes back to ideology, like you used the word before, of someone that just doesn't agree with that other individual. And so they just say, you know what? I don't believe you. Let's take him out, period. Right. And you bring up JFK. We know all the conspiracies and that aside. It's just, this is what happens when we argue over opinions and beliefs.
That's right.
Right.
You want me to agree with you, show me facts and what you're sharing, then maybe you have an opportunity to convince me otherwise.
Right.
But if my opinion is my opinion, you can't tell me it's wrong. No opinion is wrong.
Right.
No.
None.
No.
And that's where we lose sight of that. All right, let's
There you
move on.
Yes, sir.
Let us go with, I want to save that story before we go to America Speaks, because I just can't.
Yeah, you could do. Yeah.
Let's get into a little health. Now, one of you shared a link about the 8 screenings that doctors recommend for this upcoming year. Unfortunately, when I click on the link, it's telling me I need to enroll for free, something or
Right.
other, so I can't bring up the link.
Well,
I don't know what they're talking about. in
We
that
had
article,
discussed.
but I think important.
Well, we had discussed, Rick and I, about Lifeline screening.
That's right.
I get emails
That's
all the
right.
time. Denise and I have done it over the years. You're supposed to do it every other year, so it's been a while.
That's right.
I know that Rick and Donna do it every couple of years.
Yes.
Back then, it was only once or twice a year they'd come.
What is
Now
Life-
they're
what is Lifeline screening?
Lifeline
For those who don't know?
screening is a place where you go and they have medical staff there and they check the pumping of your blood, the arteroid test. They have certain tests,
Okay.
cardioroid tests, heart tests that they give you they're not totally professional opinions, but they show you if you have any clots
Plaque.
in your plaque in your blood
Mhm.
vessels and what you might need to
The
do.
aorta,
Yeah,
the
to check.
carotid,
Right.
all those
All
things.
that to make sure that you don't have the plaque or they're not getting plugged up in
Right.
possible stroke or
Well,
heart
shouldn't that
attack.
be why you should at least see your doctor once a year for an overall physical?
Correct.
Yeah.
This is not a bad thing. It
But-
costs
no,
like $150.
No, I
they
get it.
they test you 5 or 6 different ways, where
Okay.
normally would
That's
cost
it.
way more.
That's it. Because once again, when you go in for your basic and that whole deal, they don't check that. They don't
Right.
check that with the ultrasound to see what's going on inside, right? I just lost a cousin.
Right.
I just
We
lost a
talked about that
cousin in
last
that
week.
whole deal. And so she didn't realize she wasn't going to the doctor on a continuous basis. Then all of a sudden they open her up and that whole damn blood clots form and her and her veins are hard. She's got plaque everywhere. So the key thing for us to do is to make sure that our heart, we're not putting a lot of pressure on our heart, and we're opening up our veins and making sure that we clean our veins out. That's the key
It's
thing.
preventative.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because the reason I say that, we just saw the Golden State Warriors
Assistant
coach just pass away
Right. I
on
saw
the
that.
sideline.
Yep.
And he's 46 years
Yeah.
old.
He had the heart attack on the sideline, and they pronounced him dead later on that night. At the
Right,
hospital.
right. So that's why, man, we don't know what's going on inside of our bodies. So do the screenings, folks. It doesn't take much. You want to save your life and not go through some problems with stroke, and now all of a sudden you're handicapped and can't think and your mind's all messed up. Go get
Yeah.
it done,
It only
folks.
takes what I remember an hour or two. They run you through each test,
Yes.
and then they give
Is it
you
a
an
facility?
idea.
Is it a facility that you guys go?
No, they
to?
set up in
They set up-
churches
yeah.
sometimes.
Oh, so it's like a mobile kind
It's
of.
a
Yeah.
mobile-
Got
and
it.
then they give you the printout of what you
What you
might
need to
want to
work
go.
on.
You might want to go and check. You're like 30 or 40% clogged up, whatever. Then you go and at least go to a doctor. and
Speaking
get
of
the-
health, my stent was removed last Friday.
You
And-
stink, you said.
My stent.
Oh, your stint. Oh, you was
Besides, I
removed.
stink.
I thought you said your stink
My
was
stink
removed. I was
was
and how is everything?
Well, once I took the stent out, everything was wonderful. I have to go back for follow-up scans in a couple of weeks, and then a week after that, follow up with the doctor to make sure everything is clear. So, I mean, I feel fine,
Good.
but having that stent removed.
Yeah, okay.
I
You've never had a stent removed through your wee-wee? I don't recommend
I
it.
can tell you a story where I had
Merry
well,
Christmas. Huh?
I had two girls that accused me of giving them something. This is back in the 80s. So I said, well, I'll do the right thing and go get checked. And I had this old 80-year-old nurse with a fucking coat hanger. Come to find out, they had a yeast infection and blamed me for
Oh,
it.
God.
Oh, well.
But that's
could've
what
made
happens when you
Gotta-
got a couple of girls hanging out
You
with
got to
you.
watch out who you're putting the stick
I
in.
was
That's
gonna
all I
say,
can say.
Could've
Well,
made some bread with
I
that
was
yeast.
like this afterwards. I said, no more. You guys get no more.
All right, before we go to break, I think what we're gonna. Do you have a different topic for America Speaks than what our gold bar?
Kind of,
story
sort
is?
of. We
Okay.
can go either way.
No. I'm gonna save that for after break.
Oh, it's not that about
You got a yeast infection, huh?
That's what they said. I didn't have one though. They're the ones
I'm
who
just
had
going to
it.
ask, did anything rise up, bro? I mean,
Everything.
that's all.
If something pops up, call me. We'll
Nothing
talk
out
about
of nothing
it.
out of normality. Everything else was.
So before we go
I
to
was like
break,
27.
before we go to break in 3 minutes, we're going to talk about the story we've been alluding to all show. We have a whole new meaning, Mr. George, of what it's like to shit.
Wait. I seem to remember you talking about something about don't say something at the beginning of the show and then wait till the end of the show. to
Right.
say-
Well, I just found out it's not part of his America Speaks.
Yeah.
So this is going to be at
Okay.
the end of the segment
Okay.
instead of the end of the show.
All right, then I'll let you slide on that.
All right. So we have
John's got the joystick over there. He's like, hey, man.
we got the story that gives a whole new meaning to shitting bricks. So George, take it away.
That's funny.
Wait.
Oh, we're doing American Speaks
No!
now.
No,
The gold story.
Oh, you
Gold
want me to
story.
say? Oh, you
Come
want
on,
me to
man.
say the
the
gold?
gold standard.
You all right? Let me tell you.
Let me see if I can even open it. You
Yeah,
said
you
you
gotta-
got.
No, I was the story I couldn't open was the things to get tested in 2024.
Oh, you want me to talk about? Okay,
George,
real
you
quick.
have a little temperature.
Yeah, I do.
Should I do a setup again?
Yeah.
Sorry, we're out of
Well,
Okay. I guess some guy got busted at the customs. This is in India.
okay.
And I mean, I don't know what kind of customs they have over there, what they do, but the guy was coming through customs, and somehow I don't know.
Timeshare
They
either.
said he was walking weird, so they pulled the guy over at the. Can you come over here? We need to check. I don't know how he did it. He had 7 12-inch gold bars up his bum. That's how they said it. I was up his ass, but up his bum. I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a second. First of all, forget that they had. How did he get more than 1 or 2?
And who helped him?
Right. I don't know how they did, but they
Little
arrested him
Crisco?
because you can't.
A lot of Crisco.
He did right. He didn't declare the items that he had on his person.
So he was smuggling.
He was smuggling gold bars.
Okay.
And they were all 7 were up his butt, and he was walking weird, and that's why they stopped him.
Was
So
he walking with his butt tight? He's like this?
I would have
He was
been with
walking with a
one.
limp.
Yeah, could you imagine though if you're
No.
walking through an airport and,
I can imagine sitting on an airplane like
and
that.
a big old bar just drops out and everybody be like,
He's shitting gold bricks, Mom. He's shitting gold bricks.
But here's the
I'm
deal.
at it. I would have had a smile with one up my butt.
The
But
human
6
goose.
more. That
But
would
here's
hurt.
what I want to know. So they got him as he was coming off the plane through customs.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
walking weird.
So at what point did he go into this little teeny weeny restroom on a plane and take the gold bars and shove them up his butt?
No, they were up there when he boarded.
So how the hell did he get through TSA basically getting on the plane?
Well, and I don't know how it is over there if they have the
Security measures.
Yeah, and the metal detectors and all that
You
stuff.
need a lot more.
Apparently not.
He would have to run through the X-ray machine. They would have to lay him out on the X-ray machine like luggage.
But of course,
minute.
they pulled him over. I don't know what they did. I don't know if he shit him out or if they pulled him out or he just got arrested for it. So I don't know what
I
the
can
deal
see the
is.
delegation of assignment. I'm the sergeant around here. You're the new person. Get those gold bricks out of there.
I'm only saying this.
Wait.
Can you imagine a glove and pulling?
No!
Bend over and pull him
Squeeze,
out?
please.
He got stopped and TSA scared the crap out of him.
Scared the
Well,
bar.
I'm gonna say this.
Scared the gold bars out of
Well,
him.
I'm gonna say this. Hey, man. Hey, when he goes to prison and Bubba's in there, he's gonna say, "Oh, you already indoctrinated, huh?" Okay.
You're done.
He'll slip right in very easily.
Can I feel something?
Right. All right.
Oh
Before
my
we
God.
totally lose control, not
We
that we
already
ever
did.
had it, we're going to step aside for our last break. When we come back, not only are we going to probably continue with all the innuendos about gold bars up someone's
I
ass,
think we're done with
but we're
that.
going to get to
man.
America Speaks because we honestly have no idea what George has in mind for that. You'll find out like
Yeah,
us.
we're not gonna stick around because we're getting behind.
We'll be right back.
Gold
behind.
bars, man.
He's getting
Baby,
behind.
baby, gold bars.
What's the value of those gold bars now?
Woo, baby.
Go to break.
Oh boy.
Take a
Hi, my name is Edgar Alejandro. I'm the co-founder of Rising Again Productions. So we've been here in Vegas producing films for the past couple of years, and we've seen our fair share of studios. We've worked in our fair share of studios, and to be honest, WWDBTV has been our favorite by far. John is so welcoming. The space is wonderful. It's perfect for what we need. We've had rehearsals here. We've had callbacks here. We've had table reads here. So if you're a Vegas creative, or really just a creative coming into Vegas, definitely check out this space. Chat with John. I think you'll find that this studio has everything that you'll need as well.
All right, welcome back. See, we continued during the break. It don't matter.
It doesn't
This
matter.
show is a gold standard of shows around here.
Yeah.
Gold standard.
What's the value?
12 inches of it. You know.
What's the value of gold right now?
The
12
value-
inches?
The value of gold is like 216 right now. 2016.
Oh, so a little over
A
2,000.
little 2000.
What would the value of those be? Would they go up or down?
Ooh, baby,
I'd still think
baby,
they'd go
baby.
up.
I believe, man, they'll go up because
They went up.
because
They already went up.
they already went up. But the historical fact of it, man, and that whole deal where this guy can stuff all this up in there, that's historical. That'll go into the
So would
museum.
the bars be historical or the
Guinness
space in
Book
his
of World
butt?
Records.
I think both. I think both will be historical.
Get it? Could you imagine
Wait, wait, wait.
Guinness World Book
Are
of
you
Records?
sure this wasn't a TikTok challenge?
Yeah.
It very well
Listen,
could have
I've
been.
done the ice challenge. I've done it. That one I ain't doing,
I ain't
folks.
doing neither, bro.
Holy cow. All right, it's time for the segment that everybody loves around here called America Speaks.
America Speaks.
Yes, you
Where's
did.
the new logo?
Here we go.
All
Is
right,
it supposed
guys,
to be in there?
welcome to America Speaks. This is where you, America, get to
Boy, he gave you a lot
voice
of
your
room on the
opinion.
set. Look at
He
that.
does. Like, where'd everybody go? But yeah, we
Can't
this is
even
a
see the logo.
this is the system or the segment where you get to voice your opinion. I saw a little story here. I thought it might be kind of funny.
Does it measure up to the gold standard?
Well, I think it's a little better than that
Oh,
story.
Wow.
But
That says a lot.
Dionne Warwick is getting honored by the Kennedy Center Honors.
Okay.
Oh, well, she was in December. She got
okay. She
just
was
a,
honored.
yes.
We're up
and,
to date
uh,
on our news around here.
Yes, right. We're a month behind already. But they asked her, she said when she first was becoming famous,
Okay.
she opened up for all craziness she opened up for Elvis Presley. And she said Elvis Presley was the prettiest man she ever saw in her life. So I thought I'd come down and see what some of the conversations were. She said that he was very nice to her.
Okay.
And that she was, she was really, really young back then. But yeah, she said that he was the prettiest guy she'd ever met.
Okay.
So
And
America, we're going to find out what you think of this topic. I thought it might be something a little different.
Okay.
And we have Whoop-de-doo 004. Great stories. She probably told him that he was the best looking man she had ever seen, which prompted him to boost her sales. Okay. Who knows about that? So, how about
Depends
Dennis?
on what sales mean.
Right. Right. Dennis NWV. Dionne Warwick has always been recognized as a beautiful woman and great talent. Miss Warwick's love of God surprises none of her fans. And I think that might have been, I know Elvis Presley was religious, a
Right.
religious man. So I'm sure that might have been part of their.
But had she continued with the psychic hotline, she would have already known that she was getting an award.
That's right. Which she stopped doing that a long time ago.
Yes,
Huh?
that was an 80s commercial.
Here's a
if I'm not
guy.
mistaken.
My 2 cents. Dionne Warwick was pretty hot looking herself. She was back in the day. How about Alpharun 889? I never seen a man that pretty in my life. Yeah, but that was before Al Sharpton came along. I don't know where that came from.
It's all
but-
the hair.
Right.
That's what it is.
How about Dino Ferrati? I can only imagine when Elvis and Tom Jones tore up the strip back in the day.
Oh, there's a
He-
lot of ladies that left a lot of underwear that went home butt naked.
You
without
can
underwear.
ask Elvira.
Elf-
She banged both of them. She
John
said-
knows Elvira.
Yeah.
We can get her on the show.
She said Tom Jones hurt her so bad she had to go to the doctor.
Is that why she's on the other side of the street corner
Talk
now?
about a foot long,
because
foot long of gold. Tom Jones.
Because you know
like-
she is not of.
He's on the other team.
She's on the other team. She's on the team with Ellen DeGeneres. Did you know that? Seriously,
what?
she has.
Wait. You didn't know that?
Yeah, this was.
We're talking Dionne Warwick.
No, you Elvira.
Oh, Elvira.
Elvira.
yeah.
Elvira
I
came
know.
out.
She
couple of
ruined
years
everything
ago.
for me. A couple of years ago, she did. Cassandra Peterson. Yeah. When she said she came out as a lesbian, I went, "You're out of
Isn't
here."
she
You've
married?
got
Did
to-
she get married?
No.
Or
She
just
has no
has the
kids.
partner.
No kids. Yeah,
No, I mean to the
She's
female.
had the same partner for 15 years.
Did she
Longer.
get married to that partner?
I don't.
That's what I'm asking.
I don't think they have yet.
Did we have a same-sex marriage? That's what I'm
No.
asking.
And I know
But-
they don't have any
wait,
children. She never had kids.
You have to admire the woman who was her significant other
Oh,
for 15 years,
keeping it quiet.
kept her mouth shut, and did not go around telling everybody, "Elvira's my girlfriend."
Well, back then it wouldn't have been. It would have been. Elvira's career would have been almost ruined probably by then.
Possibly.
Oh, I like lesbos, but I don't know about the full blown. Damn, Elvira. It blew me.
emails to
It totally blew everything I ever. All right, here's about Isabel 28. Elvis's parents deserve the credit for his good looks. Mature Elvis was inescapably tainted in the public mind by the dismal spectacle of his final year or two. The startling weight gain, the sluggish performances, the final collapse alongside a toilet. Even 15 years after he had died, mature Elvis was still fat Elvis for too many people. And fat Elvis was an embarrassment. By a 3-1 margin, America voted for an Elvis of an even more distant past. I loved this song, Suspicious Minds. So, okay. A lot of people feel the same way. Of course,
Right.
Elvis changed in the last
Mhm.
few years. Palo Alto Fuda, whatever that is. She has always been classy. More celebrities should emulate her.
I will say that she's been a very classy individual forever. For every
Yes.
time you see her in public eye, I mean, I don't know what she's like behind closed doors.
Well,
Like,
it's
why
right.
are you staying very quiet through this?
I'm listening.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm just
I can
lis- I'm
smell the
just-
smoke coming
No,
out of his
no,
ears.
I'm
He's
just
thinking.
listening.
Well,
I'm just
a man of
I'm-
your talents and abilities and people that you've met. Did you ever meet Dionne Warwick at all?
I've never met Dionne Warwick.
Wasn't she with the Pips?
No.
That's Gladys Knight.
That's-
Oh, Gladys.
Oh, you knew that. You
I
were
mix them
trying-
up.
Well, Whitney Houston was her niece.
Yes,
Yes.
that I do know.
Very much. And Thelma Houston.
Yeah, Thelma Houston.
Yeah. Proudly
Did she
arrogant.
drive with Louise?
Thelma and Louise.
Yes. I love that movie, by the way. Proudly arrogant, an absolute decent human being and gifted national treasure, never embarrass herself, her family, or her country.
Thank you, Ron, for your applauses there. We appreciate it. Or
Okay.
is that praying hands? I never get those right on those emojis.
Yeah.
Amazing lady with an amazing gift. God bless her. A lot of people, they love Dionne Warwick and love her music. Here's Cap KJK. This is the last one. Elvis was shooting a movie by my school in '68. We walked over to the set in the hopes of seeing Elvis. He walked over to where we were and thanked us for coming to watch. My first thought was, man, that's a good looking guy. He was for when in his 20s.
Absolutely.
He was
when he
just-
was healthy and doing his
Yeah.
thing, he was great. Funny thing
Okay.
is, January 8th, his birthday is also my wedding day. And so we were in school and Super 6 News at the school.
That's weird
Why?
because the day he died was my anniversary.
That should have been an omen for your marriage.
It was.
So I'm in class. I was substituting for a fifth grade teacher at my school. And when the news ran and they were doing a feature on Elvis and who he is and celebrating his birthday, you know what they all said to me? Well, who's Elvis? They obviously the kids today, the element, they had no idea.
Right.
So once the news was over, I literally went into a little history lesson about who Elvis was, the importance of music, how important it was to Vegas, all that, all of that stuff. So it's interesting. Here we are. We know who Elvis is, but there's generations of people
Well,
have no clue.
Irony of that is Elvis Presley back then, they didn't put his picture out because everybody thought that he was black because all his music.
Right. As gospel.
Yeah.
tone to it.
Right.
Well,
Right.
he's
He
out of
grew
the
up in a
South. He's out-
Baptist down
Baptist-
south.
Yeah,
Baptist
no
church.
deal.
Came
But anyway, I'm not going to go there on anything, man. But a lot
See, I
of
knew
folks-
he was thinking.
Well, the thing about it, a lot of folks don't realize that he got a lot of his stuff from Little Richard.
Right.
That's where he
Right.
got.
And
a lot
that's
of his stuff.
okay. That's a compliment to musicians that today,
Yeah,
like,
but when they say he's the king of rock and roll, that really offended Little Richard. Little Richard said, "Wait a minute, I was doing this. I taught him this stuff."
Right.
So you guys are saying that he's the king. When I started all this, that's the only thing.
Yeah,
Right.
no, absolutely.
Those are facts.
way
All
to
right.
go, 189, deeply patriotic. When it came time to serve his country, Elvis didn't hesitate, unlike other celebrities that ran or ran away. Both Dion and Elvis are and were true, kind, generous Americans.
I didn't really hear anything derogatory about
No.
anything in there, but supportive of.
Of both Dionne Warwick
Absolutely.
and
There's some
Elvis.
things I want to say, but I won't say them about Elvis. I'll leave it alone.
Oh,
because
it's
of-
okay, though.
because of
That's
folks
what we're
that
here for.
Because living in Detroit, near Detroit, and that whole deal,
Right.
there was a lot of music coming out of there, and
Sure.
so he would come up
Yeah,
to
Smokey
Detroit,
Robinson, that's
and
where
all
he's
that.
right.
and so
Motown was started in Detroit.
right, and so the thing about it is that all that information about him would filter down to Toledo and that whole deal
Right.
about who he is, and what he did. And so for me, I don't want to taint anything about Elvis and that whole deal. Great music and that whole deal, but there's some things that he said and he did, man, that makes me just sit back and say, well, you could have kept those to yourself.
Now, I think Elvis did give credit for some of his musical abilities and taste and where he got some of his music. I do believe later on.
Yeah,
that he
yeah,
did.
yeah. That's
So,
good. That's a good
yeah.
thing. Yep, no doubt.
All right, we only have a couple of minutes left, so you know what that means? It's time to give our silly predictions for this weekend's
that's
football
right.
action.
Silly.
So we'll see. So next week we'll look at the following week's tapes to see how we did with this week's
Yeah,
predictions.
I'll bring the red flag.
Okay, bring the flag. All right,
You said Detroit.
that's right. All right, tomorrow we get started
Or
off
Saturday.
or Saturday. Sorry. Well, today's my Friday at work, so
That's
I gotta
right.
look
Oh, so
at
you're
my-
thinking. Good for you.
So
You're off.
Saturday, 1:30 p.m. local time, Houston traveling to Baltimore. Stroud versus Jackson.
Now, at first, I wasn't too Houston. I was thinking, okay, rookie coach, rookie quarterback did well. They're in the playoffs. They did good. But now, after I saw them up on Cleveland, I went, they might take Baltimore, but it's in Baltimore and it's outside. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I would like to see somebody new. I'm only going to say Houston just because, well, Baltimore's won a couple Super Bowls. I know Lamar Jackson's a great player. I'm going to go with Houston. I'm probably going to be incorrect.
Houston's getting 9 points. If you want to make any thoughts and comments on points as well,
Right. No, I'm
or
going to
just call them straight up.
Yeah, I'm going to say Houston's going to win that game. I do believe they're hungry and destiny is on their side.
I think the young kid from Baltimore, I think he's on a mission. I think he's on a mission to prove everybody wrong.
Right.
Mhm.
And everybody that said you don't earn this money, you don't deserve this
Right.
money. And also you got to remember Jim Harbaugh, his brother John just won a national championship.
Right.
Mhm.
So you got to understand that he wants this game. He wants to win a championship as well. But also you got to realize, guys, that when you go into Baltimore, it's a tough place to play.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it is absolutely.
You have to
tough.
think about the roots of the Ravens were the original Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, and that
Correct.
defense and that
So
defense,
there is going to be some kind of weird.
and that defense, man, that they have is physical.
Yeah,
They are
always have
physical
been.
and they get after people. So for me, I love CJ Stroud. I think he's the future, but I think them going on the road there in Baltimore, I'm going to give the edge, man, to Baltimore.
All right, I'm going to take Baltimore as well. Second game to Saturday night. Green Bay travels to San Francisco.
Again,
We got to be quick. We're about a minute and a half.
I would love to see.
49ers.
I would love to see. Yeah, they're probably going to win. I'm going to say Green Bay just because I'm sick of the 49ers.
Yeah, once again, you're talking about the youngest team
Right.
in the National Football League. Here's the key, though, guys. Remember, they've already played a game. San Francisco and them haven't played a game, so they have tape on them from their previous game. So they're going to make those adjustments,
Right.
and that whole deal against those teams. So I'm going to go with San Francisco, but I think Green Bay is going to give them a run for their money.
Right.
I really do, because I think once again, those young kids, man, they don't. What do they know?
I would
Like,
love
let's
to,
just go out there and
Right.
run and play game.
I would love to see stats historically on the teams that get the buys. How will they do in that game after the bye? Because recent memory seems to have me thinking that the teams that had the bye don't fare very
Sometimes
well.
they get a little rusty. They've had
That's
a week
just
or
it.
two
They get
off.
there, and that might be why I think it's going to be a close game. However, as much as I like what I saw with the Packers last week, I'll tell you what, Brock Purdy may not be quarterback elite, but in that system, he damn well is. When you got McCaffrey, you got Sammy, you
And
got
they're
everybody else.
well-rounded, too.
Absolutely. And the defensive side on that ball. So I'm going to take San Francisco. All right, we got to blitz through the last two relatively quickly. Tampa Bay visiting Detroit. I'm taking Detroit on
Me
that
too.
one.
I'm on Detroit. I'm on the Detroit team.
And then the Ice Bowl number 2, after you saw what happened, I mean, the snow in Buffalo is ridiculous. Kansas City going to Buffalo. Buffalo given a field goal, but to me, that's a pick'em game.
I'm going to Buffalo.
I'm going to take Buffalo.
Me too. Even though they always seem to blow at these games, I'm going to go with Buffalo.
I think Josh is on a mission this year.
Yeah.
You've heard so much. He's done this, he's done that during the regular season.
Fold.
I think he's ready to quiet that. And I think those kids are going to play for him. I'm going with Buffalo.
And it's
Absolutely.
first away game for Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs.
Correct. So, all right, with that, that's our predictions. Don't bet the house on it because
That's
aren't.
why we're right.
So
I wouldn't bet the house.
All right, final thoughts as we say goodbye for this week, gents.
Do you guys favor? Keep your head above water. Keep getting up in the morning. Keep doing what you do. Life is going to get better if it isn't already.
You know what? Life is beautiful. Every day that you get up, be thankful for it.
Have a great week, everybody. I'm thankful for the fact that I ain't got gold bars up my butt. Mine are sitting in a safe in my house. You don't know where I live, so you can't find them.
Please don't tell them.
All right, with
That
that,
hurts just talking
have a
about
great
it.
week, everybody. Be kind to everybody. Why? We are all we have. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Kiwanis Connects.
That's right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.